Hi guys, my name is Malware Blocker, and today we're going to be doing a test of my own security config. Now, just to warn you, I do have a bit of a cold, so I probably will be a little bit sniffly throughout this video. But this is what I'm running on my host. You'll see I have Kaspersky, VoodooShield, Ransom Free, Zamana, and Malwarebytes Premium. Now, I have changed this slightly on my new config, which basically means that I've removed Zamana anti-logger from real-time protection. It's only a demand scanner, and I also removed ransom free because it was very irritating, especially when it came to snapshots. It seemed to block pretty much every snapshot restore I was doing on VM Workstation, so that got really irritating. But for this test, I'll be using Zamana, VoodooShield, and Kaspersky in combination, and then Avira's browser safety extension for the browser. So I have file antivirus disabled at the moment, just so none of the samples get removed by real-time protection, and I have file antivirus or real-time protection disabled on both Kaspersky and Zamana. I just had to point that out here. And I will be running Kaspersky on high settings, since I customized everything to the same sort of setup as my own host PC setup. Now it's time to start the URL test. We have 5 malicious URLs and 5 phishing URLs. And starting with the malicious ones, Avira browser safety basically blocking everything. I mean, 5 out of 5, that is very impressive. So that's why I use Avira browser safety, if anybody's wondering. Has a very good detection rate right there. If it's going to fall down on anything, it's going to be the phishing links. And as you can see, it has let through these first 2, sadly. But the other 3 do get blocked, so that is very impressive still. I mean, that's quite high for web protection. Most AVs don't manage to get that sort of detection rate, which is 8 out of 10, which is 80%. So the detection rate for the URL test, 80% if you combine the malicious and phishing URLs. So pretty decent right there. And now we're going to move on to the detection test. So, I have a folder full of 126 items, all from the last 4 days. Most of these are from today and yesterday, but there are a few older samples, a maximum of about 4 days on. And there shouldn't be any false positives in here. There may be a few pups, which may or may not get detected, and there may be 1 or 2 false positives, but there probably isn't. I can't confirm that just yet. We'll see at the end though. And I'm going to start a right-click context scan with Zamana and Kaspersky. As you can see, it's already picking stuff up. I mean, it's got ransomware coming up there. It's got some adware and Zamana. And let's just see how it does. So once that's done, we're going to clean both out. Kaspersky's already cleaning files out as we speak, but then Zamana have to manually clean that, and we'll see what's left over in the folder, and then that will be the detection rate once we've checked all the leftover files with VoodooShield, and let's see if any of those are false positives or, well, more malicious than others. But I'm going to leave this now and let you guys listen to some music. So Kaspersky scan and Zamana scans are both finished. Kaspersky has picked up a lot of threats here, and it does say 7 objects are not disinfected or processed. So, well, we're going to fix that in 1 second. Now there's 23 items left over by Kaspersky, but of course we do have Zamana to clean out as well, and we've got all of these things left in the resolve category here. In the notification center. Now I'm going to click delete on all these pop-ups, and notice how some of these are legit programs which may be used by a criminal to damage your computer. That's what they class some of the files as, which is very interesting. But there you go, everything's been quarantined successfully. No complaints, no problems. That was pretty smooth right there. And now we're going to clean out Zamana. So, Zamana detected 90 out of 126, which I believe is 71.4% on its own, which is not too bad. Could be slightly better, but then again there are some pups in there, so that's fair enough. Now the samples folder has 12 items. 12 items. Now I'm going to scan once more just to double check the folder, and Kaspersky picks up no threats. There you go. And Zamana also picks up no threats. What a surprise! That is really surprising. So 12 items left over. What I'm going to do is upload, well, pretty much all of these to VoodooShield, and you guys can watch as well, just to check to see which ones might be false positives, which ones are, well, actual pups and malware. I mean, I'd personally class a pup as malware, because stuff like this driver booster crap, I mean, you don't actually need any of that, and you definitely wouldn't really want that on your system. Some other legit programs which kind of act like pups, like IOBit software, you can have that on your system, obviously, because it's not too big of a deal, but it does just force you to install other crap, sometimes IOBit stuff. But as you can see, some of these are detected by VoodooShield, and I would personally class anything above about 4 out of 57 as malicious, or at least that's what I'm going to do for this video, since, well, it could just be a new malicious file, or it could be some sort of low detected pup, and therefore anything above 4 I'm going to leave in this folder. So, I mean, there's some Chinese stuff, what the hell is this? And they got all sorts of pups in this folder by the look of it, but some of these are false positives. I mean, this top one here, that is definitely a false positive. 0 out of 54, that's a false positive. So we're going to go ahead and delete any false positives. Now I believe there's about 3 in this folder, so you'll see the number of files at the very end, and then we can work out the detection rate of the whole scan, or should I say 2 scans, because Zamana and Kaspersky. So some of these are definitely false positives, which is slightly disappointing, but there you go, that's just how it works, I suppose. You've got to either verify all the files or execute them all to guarantee no false positives. And even verification can miss some. So there you go, that one basically a false positive again. But we have 8 left over, so I'm going to class these 8 as legit sort of pups or malware. And well, 8 left over means a detection rate of 93.7%, which is not bad. I mean, Kaspersky used to get a much higher detection rate than that, but I'm pretty sure the only reason it didn't get any of these files is basically because the majority of them are pups. I mean, Kaspersky probably isn't the greatest for pups. I don't know, it's fine for pups, but I mean, it isn't like one of the top AVs for detecting pups probably. So there you go, 8 left over is not bad, and considering most of the files were from, well, today or yesterday, I think that's actually a pretty brilliant detection rate right there, a lot higher than some other AVs would manage to do. Now I'm going to enable real-time detection in both Kaspersky and Zamana. Kaspersky is set to high, remember, and delete, and also on execution, and that's all good. So Zamana, I mean, I can't really change that many settings in there, but in Zamana I will activate Pandora Cloud Sandbox technology. What a fancy name. And I'm also going to set the action to delete as well, because that way, well, everything gets deleted and we can see what's in the folder pretty easily. So there you go. That's all very good. And VoodooShield is set to always on as before. Now we have the Process Explorer window on the left and the prevention test folder on the right. So this is the prevention test. I mean, we've got Kaspersky resolving basically all of the threats at the moment. Well, VoodooShield and Zamana probably aren't going to get much use, I suppose. Yeah, they're not going to get much use at all, because Zamana and VoodooShield are like backups. So if it's not on Kaspersky's signatures, or not detected by Kaspersky's behavior blocker or HIPS, for example, then, well, Zamana and VoodooShield kick in, and obviously VoodooShield is going to be really good for anything which isn't detected by Kaspersky or Zamana. So, for example, when we come to execute the leftover files in the samples folder, which I will do after this prevention test, we will see that VoodooShield does an incredibly good job at actually detecting what is malicious and what is not malicious, which is why I highly recommend VoodooShield, because, well, the detection rate is brilliant, the actual program is pretty damn good. The only bad thing about it really is the fact that you can't change any settings unless you buy the program, which I don't really think is a bad, well, it's not really a bad thing anyway. I mean, just for some people, they would complain, oh, I can't change the settings because I don't have the paid for version. But let's be honest, I mean, you don't need to change the settings, it does a good job anyway. And, well, just buy the program if you want to change the settings. I mean, it's not overly priced, is it? It's a good price, it's a good piece of software. Just do it. I mean, go for it, man. But here you go, we've got 2 left, and now 1 left, and boom, we're done. So Kaspersky literally just wiped out the whole folder. I mean, we didn't even need Zamana or VoodooShield for that part of the test, to be honest. But you'll see in a second that although Zamana is basically useless with real-time protection, because we don't need it for anything, the VoodooShield setup is working superbly, so that's very impressive. 8 out of 57, and as you can see, it's classed as unsafe by Voodoo AI as well, and Virus Total. So there you go, that one's been quarantined. Now I am going to click quarantine for all of these, since that's the recommended option, as you can see, recommended, and also that means that it gets completely taken out of the folder instead of just clicking block, which, well, just blocks the process from starting properly and running. So quarantine is the recommended option. There you go, slowly wiping out the folder. As you can see, only 4 items left, so half it's already gone, and it will detect this one as well. Here we go, 17 out of 54. Some of these have quite high detection ratios, like that one. So I mean, wow, I'm surprised Kaspersky didn't pick up some of these, but there you go anyway. So VoodooShield, pretty good job so far. I feel like it's going to detect all of these. It should do anyway. We've only got 2 left. It basically will detect all of these, and yeah, pretty impressive stuff. So now that that is done, we have an empty samples folder and an empty prevention test folder. So 0 files or nothing in the folders basically. Everything is empty, and checking startup here just to see if anything's been left over. Well, nothing is in startup, and in auto runs, nothing's left over in auto runs either. Now I will be doing some second opinion scanners at the very end of this video, and we'll see how much has been left over or how little has been left over, because we don't actually know at this point. But I mean, nothing malicious has appeared in auto runs here. Everything looks normal, so we're going to go ahead and well, close this and start some second opinion scanners. But first I'm going to empty the recycle bin and also use C Cleaner to scan the PC just to clean out the cache, etc, etc. I'm not going to clean out Chrome because well, Chrome's running with the VPN, so I just don't clean that out. But everything else I'm going to clean. It's time to boot up Emsisoft Emergency Kit Scanner and also Kaspersky with the Quick Scan. It's a Mana anti-malware with the scan as well, and of course Hitman Pro. All good second opinion scanners, although obviously Kaspersky isn't really a second opinion scanner, that actually is the AV. But we do have some leftover files here. Now I didn't actually scan these in the detection test or anything, which is why they're left over. These are just my well, my standard samples which I keep on the virtual machine. So we've got some screen lockers and some ransomware files here. Now some of these ransomware files are .vir. In fact, they might all be .vir. So I mean, Kaspersky may or may not detect them. I'm not sure if Kaspersky actually does detect VIR files, but obviously Zamana does, and I think Hitman Pro might as well. So there you go. Now everything should be cleaned out here. I mean, there's going to be some possibly left over, but the majority of the files on this system will be detected. And also we just want to check for anything in like the roaming folder, the temp folder, that sort of thing, because that is a common location for, well, malware remnants, I guess they call them, to sort of hide in the system without anybody actually noticing. So there probably is like some stuff left over. I mean, we executed some samples which took a while for VoodooShield to react to, so it is possible that something was left in the temp or roaming folder there. In fact, by the look of it, there is some stuff left over. In roaming, we've got a DLL file and an exe file by the look of things. So, wow, there's some stuff left over in roaming then which weren't there before. And I'm pretty sure that they were not there before I did this test, guys, because, well, like I said, I used a snapshot to a clean system. I knew it was clean because I did second opinion scanners on it. And then before this test as well, I used all of these second opinion scanners to check the whole system. Now, in theory, if that was there in roaming before, then Hitman Pro, when I scanned it before, would have detected it. So that basically means that it must be a malware remnant from this test and not from a previous test, because it didn't detect it till just after this test. Now, it's also picked up the chrome.exe, which is the file I looked at in the Padlock ransomware video. Now, I would like to mention it's picked up 3 there, and the reason for that is looking on hybrid analysis, there's actually 3 separate chrome.exe files which were uploaded on, like, I think it was 2 consecutive days or something. And basically I just wanted to see if they were the same thing, so I downloaded them all. I ended up executing them all, and basically it was the same file. One of them had an updated set of details, if I believe correctly. I think so. But they were the same file, just with different backgrounds and stuff. And also the 2 newer versions of that Padlock screen locker, basically don't have a password box, so the only way you can remove them is just to, well, reboot or something and, you know, just delete the exe file. But there you go, we've got this file in here, and I'm also going to do a video on those files, probably in one video, just execute both of them, talk about them, because they're all basically the same file, they're just like different variants, I think, or at least as far as I know. They are getting detected though, so obviously they are actually malicious. But as you can see, Hitman Pro here, removing some stuff, and it removed the DLL, removed the exe, and now we're going to do a reboot. Let's hope that everything is clean after this. Now, as you can see in the ransomware folder, well, we basically have two files left, which are both VIR, and if we change these to .exe, they will not be able to execute anyway, because, well, for some reason these two ransomware files don't actually execute. For whatever reason, they just can't. And we should basically be protected by VoodooShield anyway, even if nothing detects them with signatures, so that's fine. But in the screen lockers folder, we actually have nothing as well. There's just two zip files, which I downloaded off malware tips containing the screen locker, so don't worry about that. And yeah, that basically concludes the test. Nothing is left over. Again, in auto runs, nothing has been added. So there you go. That's the test of my own security config. If you want to see me do a more up-to-date one, so a test of my new security config, then just leave a comment down below or on the forums, and I'll be sure to do that. And hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully my cold hasn't annoyed you too much. It's annoying me.